Hello, welcome to the RPG Hangout, the podcast in which we both pick a game each week and talk about it.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm your host, Leo, joined by my co-host, Nathan.
What's up?
Today, we actually have a news section. Yay, exciting. And, because, again, we recorded the last episode and this episode on the same day, we will not be having a what are we playing section, at least not much of one, if anything, because, well, again, recorded the same day, so it's the same as the last episode. Yes. Today's games are, what did I play? Ni No Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, and Persona 5. I played Ni No Kuni 2, Nathan played Persona 5.
Yes. Honestly, not recently, but a lot of it is still so fresh in my mind because it's such a good game.
Yeah. But, and for me, he at least has at one point finished Persona 5. I was not able to finish Ni No Kuni in time, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, I beat the original Persona 5, just not Royal.
Yeah. So let us get into the news section. Da-da-da. The serious bit, kind of, but not really. So, something that everyone's talked about by now. It's a little bit old news, but I had to add it in because of what happens later on. Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. Do you have any opinions on this?
I mean, not really. Like, I don't...
No?
I think it's cool because Guitar Hero might come back.
Yeah, I mean, Activision, according to an article I saw, is kind of pushing for them to bring back Guitar Hero and fucking Skylanders as well.
Yeah. Not so much excited about that one as Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Well, people are pointing out the fun little irony of, like, oh, Xbox now owns Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, two PlayStation icons.
Yeah.
Which I guess can lead into the next bit. Sony bought Bungie, who are the creators of the Halo franchise.
Oh, so Bungie made Halo and Destiny?
And Destiny, yes. So after,
that makes so much more sense now.
Yes, I believe after Halo 3, I think it was, Bungie stopped making Halo games and moved on to make Destiny.
Oh, they were trying to make like a predecessor.
Yeah, they were trying to make something new. Move on and escape the bonds of Halo. That's when 303, I believe, took over. But yeah, so that's where people are just like, oh, that's kind of funny and ironic because Xbox bought a company that has a lot of PlayStation stuff, PlayStation history as well, and PlayStation bought a company that has a lot of Xbox history.
Yeah.
And of course, with it came like the question of what's happening with the Call of Duty franchise and whatnot, and the answer is, for now, nothing. The deal for Activision Blizzard isn't going to fully go through until like 2023, and the deal with Bungie makes it to where Bungie will still be practically a third-party developer, so you'll still get Destiny on other systems. Regardless.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like Destiny. It's one of the shooters that like I was actually okay with, and we played it for a while together.
We did. I kind of miss it, though I wish it had a little bit more substance to it, kind of thing. But
yeah, like without paying for it.
Yeah. So next, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga got a release date. So I'm so excited.
It looks good. It really does look good.
It does. I'm so excited for it. I've been looking forward to it since they announced it all the way back in 2019. I've been dying.
I know. Like there's like a point in time where you constantly like stressing out whether or not they're gonna like show some more news or not soon.
All of 2021. I was furious.
Yeah, because it had already been so long.
Well, so they announced it back in 2019. for a proposed 2020 release date.
Yeah.
2020 rolls around, and it leaks that it would be coming around October of 2020. People were super excited. That turned out to not be the case. In August, it was like, okay, it's spring 2021. And then you're sitting there waiting constantly for new bits of news, and they're not saying anything. Spring comes and is pretty much gone by the time they finally say 2022. So you're quite frustrated by that point. And then it's like the question of like, when in 2022, what's going on? And sorry, my phone twiddled.
A lot of words have been thrown around over the years.
Yeah. But now, finally, like, the thing that's slightly annoying is that they did just kind of drop it. They were just like, there it is. It's coming out April.
Right? That's kind of what happened with Tales of Arise, because if you remember, I was frustrated that, like, they literally weren't saying anything about it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, on, like, some sort of conference, they were like, boom, it's releasing in September, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when I got the news that it was coming out, I was like, oh, cool, and I watched the trailer. I've actually watched the trailer, like, a good 3-4 times at least. I'm a little bit worried, because a lot of the cutscenes seem a little bit jittery. That could just be YouTube compression, or, like, when they were recording it had some issues. I'm not sure. But we'll see how the game is on release. But I know I'm gonna, like, I've stated before, it's gonna be one of my next platinums, like, no doubt about it. I'm gonna fucking suck that game dry.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. It's gone.
Got some succubus action going
on. In semi-related news, I mentioned this outside of the podcast, but there was a BD droid. Actually, no, it was part of the podcast last episode. There was a BD droid in Book of Boba Fett. It's there. It is not the same BD droid that Cal Kestis has in Jedi Fallen Order, but it was the first live action appearance of a BD droid. It looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
Book of Boba Fett overall is going pretty good. Loving the things going on in it. I understand a lot of people's complaints that it's kind of shifting away from being about Boba Fett, but these things happen.
I heard there's so many leaks going on for that.
There were a lot of leaks before it came out, like, of what was, like, a lot of rumors going around, and so far a good few of them seem to be correct. Yes. Also in Star Wars news, because there's lots of that, 3 new Star Wars games were announced to be done by Respawn Entertainment, the people that did Jedi Fallen Order. So one of them is obviously a Fallen Order sequel. A Jedi sequel, technically.
Yeah.
Another one is a shooter. I think it's going to be a first-person shooter. Rumors going around is that it would be similar to, like, Dark Forces or the Jedi Outcast games or the or Republic Commando kind of deal. And then the last one is a strategy game. The shooter is being headed up by one of the producers of the original Battlefront games, like the old 2002, 2004 ones.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And the strategy game is being headed up by one of the former XCOM developers. So very excited about that.
So it's going to be like a Star Wars XCOM-esque.
Yes, that is the theory, based on the reporting, is that it will probably be a Star Wars XCOM-like game. If not, they might do like a real-time strategy kind of game like Empire at War, which I'm kind of hoping for, because I love Empire at War. But we'll just have to see. okay, so there was a lot of Star Wars gaming news this past week.
Obviously.
Yes. So, Star Wars 1313 footage leaked. If you don't remember, Star Wars 1313 was a game announced way back around the time, well, just before the purchase by Disney.
Really?
And yes, it was way back there, like 2010, 2011 is when it was announced.
Damn.
It was, the idea behind the game was that you were a bounty hunter on Coruscant, specifically on level 1313.
Oh,
So,
I think I saw some footage of that in pre-development.
yes, so they did release a trailer all the way back then, and you might remember it's on like a train deal.
Yeah.
It looked kind of Uncharted-esque in a way.
It really did.
Yeah. So one of the stories that was going on at the time was that, so originally it was going to be an original character, original bounty hunter. But supposedly George Lucas had made a bit of a shift and wanted it to become a Boba Fett game. You know, a young Boba Fett. So that was the direction that they had to shift to, and they had a lot of redoing to do. And then when Disney bought Lucasfilm, it got completely scrapped.
Yeah.
But the footage that recently leaked was the Boba Fett footage. Them having started to work on transferring the game from an original character to Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's the video I saw.
Like the Boba Fett thing?
Yeah, like it looked a lot, like I'm not even gonna lie, it looked a lot like the opening scene to Sleeping Dogs.
Right.
Like where you're running and you're chasing somebody.
Huh.
And you're like falling through like glass and
nice. So the next thing, not Star Wars. Hey. Elden Ring has gone gold.
Already.
Yes. Well, it does come out next month.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, it comes out this month. Sorry.
Later this month.
Yeah, it comes out, I believe, the 18th. That doesn't mean a whole lot, because, you know, Cyberpunk 2077 has forever changed gone gold to not meaning too much anymore.
Yeah. Like
it means, hey, the game should be on the way, but there may or may not be some delays along the way.
There's also leaked rumors of a Cyberpunk upgrade, PS5 upgrade.
Yes. Well, the PS5 upgrade was something that they had talked about long ago, but yeah, it did recently supposedly pop up on the PS5 store as an option, which suggests it might be coming soon. It is said to come this year, the PS5 upgrade, along with the first major DLC or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if it comes out on PS5 and it's good, I might get it. We'll see. Next thing, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves released.
I'm excited to play number 4 PS5.
Oh, so am I. I have it. I upgraded, which it costs $10 to upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version.
That's something I did not see, by the way. Like, I have to pay full price.
Did you try going from one of the other games? So there's 2 games in the thing. One, if sorry. So if the one that you were trying to get it through was the one that you got from PS Plus, then you can't upgrade using that path.
Yeah, that's the one I was doing.
Yeah, but if you went through the other one and you didn't get that one through PS Plus, then you should be able to upgrade.
So I can put my disc version in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then you would have to use the disc to play it, but Otherwise, it would work perfectly fine. Now, this is going to be a little bit too late by the time the episode goes out, but part of the Uncharted thing is if you get it before the movie comes out on the 19th, 18th... No, sorry. You have until the 8th to do this. If you redeem the ticket... redeem the game by either buying it or upgrading, you should get a free ticket, though it's for Regent theaters, supposedly. So if you're nowhere near a Regent theater, then you might be a little bit out of luck. And also, since this podcast episode will probably be going out after the 8th, potentially. Let's see what day it is. No, it should come out before the 8th, so you might have a couple of days after the publishing of these episodes. The next thing, Pokemon Legends Arceus released.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Right?
I hear people are obsessed with it.
Yeah, so supposedly it is very good, though it is not necessarily what they kind of promised, because the whole big thing was like it's fully open world. Sadly, it isn't. Yes, but you are able to, like, in the overworld, just chuck Pokeballs at Pokemon, so that's fun.
Oh, with like a chance of success or not?
Yeah, I believe so. So like it might just bounce back, but you can just like chuck it at them, and they've kind of made the battling system semi-real time. But yeah, like they've made a lot of decent changes. Though one of the reviews I heard is that, like, yeah, these are cool changes, but they're changes that you feel like should have happened like 10 games ago, kind of thing.
Yeah. They make so many.
But yeah, like I would like to play it. I don't have a Switch, sadly. I might get one eventually. I know that you like playing Pokemon every so often, so do you think you'll get it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I totally forgot that it came out, actually.
Oh yeah, no, it just came out Friday.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
I loved playing Sword, so...
Yeah, just to give you guys a peek behind the curtain a bit, the way I take notes is I have a planner. And on the days, I take notes of like the news vaguely related to that day. So I'm able to tell what day the news came out on. So that's nice. Netflix is going to add more games to its app.
I didn't know
you might have
a game app.
They don't have a game separate app, so within the Netflix app on your phone, you can play games.
Oh.
You don't have to download. Yeah, you don't have to download any other app or anything. You just play it directly from the Netflix app.
What is the future? What is the modern day? Netflix having games on your phone.
Yeah, so like you know those like mobile Stranger Things games. Those things you can play through the Netflix app now.
Ah.
Yeah, but they plan to add more. They've supposedly signed some contract recently to add more games to it.
So just another thing to make the Netflix app bigger in size.
Yes. Yes, to where it is very hard to fit it on your phone. So the Halo show has a release date. It is coming out March 24th.
That's pretty soon.
It looks really good. Like, have you seen the trailer for it?
No.
It looks fucking insane, dude.
I'm not too into Halo, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not too into Halo either, and this story seems like it might go a little too deep into his backstory, which is kind of like the antithesis of, like, you know, Master Chief. He's supposed to be the faceless dude.
Mm.
And it looks like they might Mandalorian him, where you're like, oh, he might fucking take off his helmet. That's not good. That's not Master Chief.
It takes away so much of, like, his character.
Yeah. But we'll see. Well, actually, I won't see because it's on Paramount Plus, and I don't have that. Though I might get it if this podcast does well. so that one I can watch stuff like that, and also I really want to watch those South Park movies. Damn it, the post-COVID movies, because they had a deal with HBO Max, and that's where the first two COVID specials went, and then because they had the COVID special and then the vaccination special, and then they signed a deal with Paramount to make it's like a ridiculous number. It's like 24 movies or something that for Paramount. And they've already made 2, I believe. Oh, and crap, South Park comes back today as well, so I might watch that tonight.
Hell yeah. It's been going on for so long.
Oh, yeah. Well, it actually hasn't had a season since 2019.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's and it's also their big 25th season.
That makes sense, because I've been seeing commercials about it again after so long, so...
Yeah. Well, so the big thing that they had in the meantime, because COVID obviously heavily impacted the release of anything.
Yeah.
They had the COVID special, and then later that year they had the vaccination special. And then they've been working on the movies for Paramount.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then, of course, the Sony buys Bungie. That was on Sunday. Okay, so this... I don't know how much you feel about this. So, Yacht Club Games, the publisher behind Shovel Knight, the creators of Shovel Knight, have announced a new game, Mina the Hollower. Did you hear anything about this?
I have not.
So, Mina the Hollower, according to their thing, is supposed to be like a Game Boy Color-esque game, like inspired game. It looks a lot like a Zelda game, kind of like a Zelda mixed a little bit with Castlevania-y game. It looks good.
It's a lot of mixtures in there,
right? But it does look quite good. Shovel Knight is one of those games that blew up in popularity. Yeah. So I'm not going to be surprised if Mina the Hollower is good. It looks good.
It wasn't a bad game. I didn't beat it, but I played a little bit of it, and I think Shovel Knight's in Smash Bros too.
He is. I believe he's. I don't know if he's a playable character, but he might be an assist.
He's a
or he's a Mii costume.
He's an assist character.
Yeah. Okay. So the next bit is a bit funny. So, do you know who Team 17 is?
No.
Okay. Does Worms ring a bell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they are the publisher of the Worms games. They recently announced that they were going to do a thing called Meta Worms NFTs.
Oh, God.
Yes. Similar to what Ubisoft was doing, which that's funny in of itself. I'll mention that a little bit later. So Team 17, they had announced a few days ago that they were doing this Meta Worms NFT thing. The backlash was so big and so hard that literally yesterday they announced, never mind.
Really?
Yes. They cancel it.
That makes sense.
So, well, that's the thing. Gamers have finally said, yeah, no, this is a line too far. We're willing to put up with your DLC bullshit. We're willing to put up with your, fucking season pass bullshit. But this is a no.
Yeah.
Because one, NFTs, they're just bad. They're scams most of the time. Sometimes, yeah, you can get a nice little bit of digital art, but you could also just commission an artist to do that for way fucking less than one of these goddamn NFTs costs.
Right?
Exactly. But this is not something that should be put into games. So, like I mentioned, Ubisoft, they have an NFT thing. And what it is you get pretty much an identical bit of kit. So, a helmet or something.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's different between them is there's a number on, like, a very small on, like, the forehead of the helmet or something. That's it. Can you guess how many they sold?
I'm gonna guess like not even 100.
They sold 15.
15.
15.
Jesus.
That is how much the gaming community is saying fuck NFTs.
Like,
and I 100% agree.
They're so dumb.
They are. They are pointless. They are so dumb. They actively harm the environment. They barely contribute anything to anything. They are the dumbest shit in the world. Anywho. So today, there was a state of play. At the time of recording this, we are recording this on the 2nd, so date. It literally just focused on Gran Turismo.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I was able to catch the tail end of it. It looks amazing. It does. Like, I'm not all that into racing games or realistic racing games, but it does look beautiful. It comes out March 4th, 2022. So keep an eye out for it if you are interested in that kind of thing.
I mean, Need for Speed is really the only games I've played like that.
Yeah,
and
Need for Speed and whatnot have a lot more.
I don't know if you remember this one racing game, but it's called Split Second.
I vaguely remember something like that.
Got it on GameFly a long time ago, and like it was like one of those racing games where you get to slow down time and you can control the environment.
Kind of remember that. So for me, racing games kind of just boil down to if I'm just playing with someone else and let's one person go the opposite way around the track. Let's crash into each other.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
It's his favorite thing to do in Dirt to Daytona. I also remember one of our things when we would hang out. We would try to see how much damage we could do to make the repair timer go to ridiculous times. Do you remember that?
Kind of.
So what we would do is we would do the, going in opposite directions and crashing into each other, and then we would painstakingly limp our way to the pit to repair, and the repair times would be like 13 hours.
Massive.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And the thing is, it counted down in real time. It usually expects like, oh, your tires are a bit worn or whatnot. We'll change that in like lickety split.
Nope.
No. Like, we were looking at hours of waiting, and I believe once we were able to wait once for it to like do, and then we immediately got into a crash, limped back into the thing, and it was like, yeah, nope, another like 3 hours, and we're like, yes, this is entertainment.
This is how we want to spend our day. That's how we did spend a lot of our days.
That's like when you're a kid during summer, like you've got nothing better to do.
Right.
Okay, well, that is all that we have for news. So, we get to hop into our topics today. Again, as a bit of a refresher, our topics for today are Ni No Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, and Persona 5.
Huzzah.
So, who would like to go first? Do you want me to go first today?
Yeah, you go first this time.
Alright. So, Ni No Kuni 2. What would you like to know about Ni No Kuni 2?
Is it connected to Ni No Kuni 1?
Barely.
Barely. How so?
Barely. So, for the most part, it is a pretty much completely separate story, though during one section of the game, fairly early on, there is like a tale that's being told to you, and it is pretty much the tale of Ni No Kuni 1.
Oh.
That's it. Other than that, it's like its own thing.
I don't really know the story behind it all,
So, well, Ni No Kuni 1's kind of sad, actually. Like, I haven't really played it yet. I hopped into Ni No Kuni 2 because PlayStation Access talked about it a lot, and it was just like, that looks really fun.
Uh-huh.
So Ni No Kuni 1 is kind of it's slightly different. So you get these like creatures and whatnot, and you kind of use them mostly to do like spells and whatnot. But it is like more like action oriented. The story of one is called Wrath of the White Witch and whatnot, and your mom dies immediately, kind of thing.
Oh Jesus!
It's one of those games. But Ni No Kuni 2 again is just like completely different. You play as, well, to start off, you play as potentially the U.S. president. So what happens is
like that's the main character.
That's a main character.
Oh.
The main character that you will most likely play through most of the game is Evan, who is a prince who, after his father dies, he is to ascend the throne. But the Weasley advisor, who's literally a fucking rat, kicks you out and says "fuck off."
Really?
He tries to kill you in a coup, and you have to escape. But before that, I say it's most likely the U.S. president. I'm just going by like president, and like a lot of the design around it is very U.S. president. Plus, he has a gun. So I'm just gonna say the president gets isekai'd. Something happens, and he ends up in this fantasy world with a gun. He just has a gun. And
did not expect that from how the game looks.
Right? And he comes into contact with Evan, like he like appears in Evan's room. And he's just like, yeah, so what's up?
How's it going?
Yeah, he's like, I have no clue what's going on. What about you? But right at that moment, it's like one of those things, we can't talk right now. There's a coup happening. So you run through the castle and escape with the help of, like, Evan's, like, mother figure, governess person who promptly gets killed.
Right.
As you escape. From there, you mostly at that point kind of shift from Roland, who's the president with a gun, to Evan, who's like a little wizard boy. Yeah. From there, you kind of travel through, and you run across like this woman in a hut that's just like, here's these things called higgledies. And they're like these little chibi elemental things that like hide in stones and shit. And they'll help you in battle and whatnot as you befriend them, etc.
It sounds like a very bizarre story.
It is. It gets weird. Like, weird. So, after you do that, you go into this canyon and you come across these people calling themselves, and you might get a laugh out of this, sky pirates.
Nice.
Exactly.
What a throwback.
Exactly. So they are in like this feud with wyverns.
Wyverns?
Yeah, wyverns. But not like the wyverns you might be thinking of. They're more anthropomorphic dragon people. Yeah, you pretty much settled that dispute for them. Go get your Kingmaker, which is this like weird fucking Cockney yellow jelly bean guy. And then from there you set off to try to build your kingdom, but first you need wood. And where do you get wood? The forest.
Always the forest.
Exactly. So you go into the forest, to which then you ask the king of the forest. You pretty much go like, hey, we need some wood. And he's like, I can't do shit for you. And they're like, why? He's like, I don't own the forest anymore. I lost it gambling.
Oh,
so you have
that kind of adventure.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So you're like, okay, where'd you lose at gambling? He's like, in the gambling city. So you're like, oh, okay. So you go to, the city's called Golden Paw. And you find out that in Golden Paw, everything is settled through gambling. The tax rate, what people should do, everything is settled through gambling.
Damn.
Yes, and you witness the ceremony where this like big old statue takes these giant dice and just like drops it. And it's like, oh, the tax rate's increased. Sorry.
Just sorry.
Yeah, just sorry. And this is actually where you kind of get introduced to like the main plot kind of thing. So as you go through and you're figuring out that, yeah, this is most likely rigged, the king is definitely, being whispered in the ear by his advisor kind of thing. So you're like, yeah, this is not up to snuff. So you uncover the conspiracy of what's going on in this town. And you find out that, yeah, this guy that, like, fucking blew in with the wind one day, and who is now the advisor, seems really suspicious. So you point that out, and he's like, yeah, I'm taking this guy's kingmaker. And so you fight the guy's kingmaker, and then the guy, like the villain he is, goes, "Mwahaha," and then disappears into the night.
As they do.
Yes, taking the kingmaker with him. Afterwards, the king of this area, or as he's called, the Grand High Roller, or whatever, is like, yeah, you can...
gambler.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, I'll give back the forest to Nile and whatnot. It's whatever. Fine. So from there, like, that's kind of the thing. So you'll go to a new town. This guy will obviously be interfering in some way. He'll take their kingmaker, rinse and repeat kind of deal.
Okay.
But there's only, like, a few cities within the game. It's, like, a fairly small game in some respects. But the side quests of it, I find very interesting. Because a lot of them are just to get people for your kingdom. Because you decide to start your own kingdom called Evermore.
That's dope.
Because, right? So you want to... He gets kicked out of his kingdom. He's like, fuck it, I'll make my own with blackjack and hookers.
Epic gambler.
But yeah, so all the side quests are like, after you clear out a town of like its problem, you gain the respect of the people, and a lot of them are wanting to like join your town. So you'll go up to them and you'll do like a little side quest for them, and then they'll join your town. Or you go up to there's like a guy in each town that you can talk to, who will introduce you to people who are interested in going to your town. And literally their quote-unquote side quest is to just go up to them and talk to them. And just be like, hey, you want to join my town? Yeah? Cool. Get
Awesome.
on over there.
Let's go.
But yeah, so that's the basic kind of plot. The second town also has like a weird, slightly interesting story that just kind of comes out of nowhere. So part of it, part of it, one of the things was you go back to Golden Paw to do some research on the other kingdoms, because Evan's main goal of what he wants to do is he wants to unite the world.
Okay.
So if you wanted to word it in a specific way, you could say that he is seeking total world domination in some form. Because
Gambling.
he's...
No.
No, basically what he wants to do is end war. He wants there to be no war. So what he plans on doing is going into these towns, solving their problem, and having them sign a pact. A treaty of sorts that kind of combines them into one big, like, nation kind of deal.
Right.
To unite the world under one banner. I made it to the second city and solved its problem. Its problem was... It's called... So, the book is... Sorry. the game is separated into chapters like a book. In fact, it even has like a little narrator that comes in at the beginning and end of each chapter. That's just in the middle sometimes. That like, and so Evan and his friends built a ship so that they could sail on the sea.
Narrates it like a book.
It does. But yeah, so they go into this town, and this town has 3 main rules. You cannot get sick. You cannot fall in love. And you cannot go up to high places.
Like mountains?
No, so this is a water thing, so it's just like a city situated in the middle of the ocean kind of deal.
Okay.
Like pseudo-Atlantis, you could say. But yeah, so like...
Pseudo-Atlantis.
Yes, pseudo-Atlantis. So as you kind of go through, you kind of learn, like, oh, so the thing that brought in the, like, don't go on to high places thing, so, like, it's basically don't go upstairs, essentially. Like, you can't go... It's very weird and specific, but, like, you can't go up to, like, to the most elevated areas in the city. So, like, a balcony and whatnot you can't go up to.
Okay.
Yeah, and you find out...
That's weird.
Well, so you find out that what caused it was this guy's friend got drunk one day and fell off of a railing and got a bit hurt. When the guards found out, they told one of the main guys, and the queen forbid people from going up to prevent it from happening again.
Right. So
you find out later that this city has been in a time loop for 300 years.
Damn!
Yes, so what happened is the city was victim to a volcano erupting, and the entire city was destroyed. But the queen used like a machine or some like power to like reset it. So if you've ever seen, there's a movie, what is it called? I'm trying to remember. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yes, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. Like she traps them in a time loop where like they're constantly averting this disaster.
Oh.
Yeah, and what would break the spell is if the population shifted at all. So you can't fall in love because that could lead to a child.
Ooh.
And you can't go into high places because you might fall off and die.
That's insane.
Yeah. So
that's so insane.
Yeah. So, but you find out that the queen herself is in love with her her right-hand guy, and has been forever. Like it's you know that childhood romance thing where it's like, when I grow up, I want you to marry me.
Yeah.
Will do kind of thing.
That's exactly
But
what she wants.
Well, instead of in the anime where it's like, or in an anime where like that doesn't tend to work out most of the time, in this time it does.
Oh.
Yeah.
It warms
like,
my heart when it works out.
Exactly, right? Well, the thing is, like, she's like, okay, you're marrying me. Fuck this town. So let's move on. It's been 300 years. Let's move on. I want you to marry me.
That's fair.
So yeah. So that's where then like you're able to get people and move them and get them to your side. He becomes a party member. She's like, help him do his thing while I prepare the wedding. So we're like,
some
okay.
of the reasonings are kind of like
right. Oh, it's hilarious. Like, oh, why can't you get wood? Oh, he lost the entire forest in a gamble. Love it.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, so the story is hilarious and silly. Fucking weird at times. Like, there was a great schism of some sort that like caused a crack in the ocean. So in order to get to the other side, you have to get a boat that can jump. And
just jump.
Just jump. So the guy that we get from the ocean place, you know, the fiancé now to the queen.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, you just jump it, and everyone's just like, what? He's like,
you what?
Yeah, no, seriously, they're just like, oh wow, we didn't take you to be like to have a sense of humor. And he's like, I'm fucking serious. You jump the boat. And they're like, okay. And he's like, well, sorry, like, where I come from, it's a daily sight. Fucking boats jump now. Deal with it.
It's the modern days, my friend.
Exactly. Fucking learn from the fish people. Make your boat jump. So he tells our shipmakers that we got, that we stole from a country, to find a way to make our boats jump. It is a little bit like you'll keep doubling back a lot.
Uh-huh.
Like, after you make your deal in Goldpaw, you're sent south to the shipmakers. So you go to the shipmakers, and he's like, yeah, sorry, mate. Most of our people keep getting taken by, like, this Kraken thing. So could you deal with that? So you leave, and you go deal with the Kraken, and rescue the shipmakers, and then you go back to the place, and you're like, okay, I did that. And they're like, good. Now we need wood. Could you get us wood for the thing? And we're like, don't worry, mate. We already solved this problem. We know exactly where to get wood. So then you go and you have to get a specific bit of wood from a specific part of that forest called ironwood. So Niall
does this wood have iron in it, per se?
I would maybe think yes.
Iron would maybe think.
But Niall gives you this spray bottle, and he's like, it's specifically made to, like, get rid of spiky things. And Roland, he's just like, what? That seems very specific. And he's like, just go with it. So you go into the woods, and an area that was previously blocked off by these big, like, spiky balls, you spray them down, and it goes down, and he's like, wow, that's a very niche, like, problem. Like,
it really
like,
is.
Yeah, it's just a spray to get rid of spiky balls. That's it.
Like,
so
just
then you
saying
go through,
it out loud. It's like,
right? So then you go through this new area of forest, get to the ironwood thing, find another boss, and then you go back to the shipmakers, and then you go like, hey, here's some wood. Or, like, you can now go get the wood, because there's no longer a thing that'll just straight up kill you. Then after the ship's made, one of the shipmakers is like, hey, is it okay if I, like, join you? And you're like, of course, absolutely. Go ahead. And then you now have a ship guy. Then one of the side quests I came across was, like, this girl from the kingdom I'm from, or that your main character's from. Which, by the way, the name is Ding Dong Dell.
The kingdom?
Yeah, the kingdom's name is Ding Dong Dell.
That's expert. It's expert level naming there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the main population is cats.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so it's cat people in Ding Dong Dell, mixed with humans and rats, of course. Or mice people. In Golden Paw, it's dogs. Is the main populace.
I see.
Yes. And the Grand High Roller's name is Master Pugnacious. And he's a pug. He's a pug guy.
A pug man.
Yes, a pug man. But yeah, so you meet up with her in like this other forest, and she's like, my llama got lost somewhere in here. Could you go get him? And you're like, sure. I went down the wrong side to go that way, but it opened up a shortcut so I can teleport to that area again. And there's a guy in a higgledy suit just like dancing around saying that he's a higgledy. And you're like, okay. And he's like, give me pebbles and I'll give you candy. And you're like, okay. So you give him 10 pebbles and he gives you a piece of candy. And you can just keep doing that. And then I asked him once, like, are you a higgledy? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, wait. So, like, completely out of context, I've never played this game or this series ever. It's just, like, I feel like I'm having a fever trip. Like,
dude, sometimes when you're playing it, you feel like you're having a fever dream.
Like, you're explaining it to me, and I'm like, am I even awake right now? Like,
no, it's
like, what even is this game?
It's so good. It's so good in how weird it can be.
Yeah, like, I hear it, like, it's really good. It sounds pretty fun. How far did you get?
So I'm about 24-ish hours or more in it.
That's not bad.
I believe I'm just starting chapter 6. There's a total of 9 chapters in the game. I was just starting chapter 6, in which I just upgraded my ship to be able to jump the crack in the world.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have that to do. But I was getting ready to do a bunch of the side quests to get more people into my town to upgrade my town. Because that's a major part of it too, is like managing and upgrading your kingdom.
That does sound like really fun, though.
It is. There's also skirmishes that you can do. So like you take your army out and you like fight like enemies that might be attacking your kingdom, or just like you're going through and like destroying their like battlements and shit going on. It's really fun.
That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to try it sometime.
Oh, definitely. There's also a side quest dealing with dream doors.
Oh god, here we go.
Well, you would think it would be like, oh wow,
a dream
trippy,
inside
man.
of a trippy fever dream.
Exactly. It's not. It's just going through a cavern.
Really?
Yeah, so you go through this door, and the main thing is that the longer you're in it, the more dangerous it becomes. So, like, the enemies will get stronger. And it'll become harder to get through. But you can, like, go to this, like, shrine in it to kind of downgrade it. So it's a little bit easier by the time you get to, like, the boss.
Right.
And it only goes up to, I think, 3 levels. I think 3 or 5 levels of danger.
Okay.
But all you do is you're just going through these areas trying to find the door. And then once you find the door, you go to the next level. And you go down a certain number of levels, and then you fight the little boss of the area. And then you're out. So the dream door is actually quite mild. I had written something down that I wanted to talk about. I can't quite remember what it was. Any questions so far?
No, it just overall sounds like a really fun experience.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like, the combat is extremely smooth, though you can sometimes feel like it kind of... Every time you finish a battle, it plays a little tune. Like, it plays a tune and a big victory, like the big word victory pops up on the screen. And similar to Kingdom Hearts 3, or as we were talking about last episode, Nier, you can switch between 3 swords or 3 weapons. Though it's not super useful. So basically, the reason for it is you can charge up the weapon as you're using it, and then once it's like hit 100%, you can do like a really strong version of an attack. And then basically the only reason for having the 3 swords is so that you can do that 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. So, or you can switch to a stronger sword, or say a certain status effect works really well against an enemy, and this sword so happens to have that status effect kind of thing.
So most of the time you'd just be using 1 sword, but if you want to use like more of that special ability, you would charge up all 3.
Yeah. And then, well, I haven't really talked much about the Higgledies.
Yeah.
So the Higgledies, like I said, are these little elemental things that you get from these rocks. Or you can cook them and make them. It's weird.
What?
Yeah, so
they can be your friend, or you can eat them.
No, so you cook them to make them. Okay, so let me explain. So as you start building your kingdom, you go back to that old lady at the cottage, and you're like, "Hey, would you like to join our kingdom?" And she says, "Yeah, but I need my scrubbing brush, because the Higgledies really like a nice clean pot to be made in, kind of thing." So you go on a scavenger hunt thing to find her scrubbing brush. You get her scrubbing brush and you bring it back to her, and that's when you gain access to the dream doors. Like you get the scrubbing brush and you're like, "Yeah, I got this cleaning equipment," and then this really mysterious professor just like appears in the cave, and she's like, "Hey, you seem pretty strong. Want to go in this weird door over here?"
Oh God.
And she's like, she talks really weird, like as if she's like hundreds of years old, but also not. Like, she's just like, "I'm a professor at a university. You can find me at the library in Goldpaw." And she's like, and if you go to her in the library in Goldpaw without having like collected all the things, she'll be like, "I've read everything here, but what are you doing here? Fucking get my dream stones or whatever." It's just like, geez, okay. Just wanted to say hi while I'm collecting people from this town. But yeah, so what she does is what the grandma lady, aunt, you call her your aunt for some reason, and you put her in this building, and she researches like the Higgledy cookbook, and then you can just make them, and for some reason it's called cooking them. For some reason, I don't know why.
But you're crafting them, really.
Pretty much, yeah. So what you can do is you can have, I believe, 4 of them equipped at a time, and what they'll do is they'll just kind of like run around the battlefield as you're in a fight, and once they kind of gather up, you can go to them and activate their like little special things. So like one of them, they'll like build a little cannon and shoot at the enemy. Another one will like create like a black hole at the enemy. Another one just heals you. During the King's King Bearer battles, there's special Higgledies that will appear. So in the most recent one that I did, they're trapped in these like ice pillars. Uh-huh. So you break the ice pillars and they kind of gather together, and when you activate them, they become like a machine gun thing, and you shoot the King Bearer as he's flying around, or if he has a shield, to try to ground him. Or just to kill him. Either one. Higgledies are fun.
That just the name gets me. Higgledy.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. I like going Hergledy. Hergledy. The battles, like I said, they're a little bit fast at times, but the bosses are quite fun. There's like quite a few bosses, and they're quite varied. The enemies, they do tend to get a little bit recycled here and there, but they do get introduced at a steady pace. There's also just
a decent amount of diversity, though?
Yeah, there's a decent amount of diversity. Like, there's times where like you'll hit a battle, and there's like a lot, like a good 9-10 enemies just like standing in front of you, and you're just like, yes.
Yes.
But there's like your standard slime-esque enemy, skeleton enemy, like these weird fairies, some wolves, there's just these big ass dragons just hanging about as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, they're just like when I was first starting the game, I do remember like I came out of like the old lady's cabin, and you look up at the top of the hill, and at the top of the hill there's just a dragon standing there just walking about. It's called a wyrm.
A wyrm?
But
like actually
yeah,
wyrm?
wyrm. Yeah, like WYRM.
Oh.
Wyrm.
A
But
worm?
I think it's wyrm.
I don't know.
Something like that. Dragon with, feet. I think it's misnamed. It's weird. But you go up to it and you're like, maybe I can take this on. No, you can't. It's level 50. You're level like 10.
Oh jeez.
No. It will fucking stomp you into the ground. But there are also strong enemies. So like there'll be a version, like a stronger version of like a normal enemy just hanging about on the battlefield or in the overworld. It'll have like this purple ring around it. It'll just stand there menacingly, and like you go up to it and it's like it gives off a dark aura. Do you want to fight this level like 30 puddle goo? And you're just like, yeah, so the name of one of the enemies is Puddle Goo.
Nice.
And you're like, sure. I think some of the strong enemies have like weird names like Manfred or whatever as well. But yeah, the thing is, the UI can be a little bit small at times. Unlike something I did kind of forget to mention in Dragon Ball Z, I mentioned it a little bit, is that the UI can be a little overbearing. The UI is constantly on the screen in Dragon Ball Z.
Like always?
Always.
Damn.
So, like, well, it'll fade away sometimes, but, like, the controls of, like, how to control the game are constantly there, and they'll, like, fade away, but they'll keep popping up.
Well, like, is there no setting?
Not that I know of.
Normally there's, like, settings you could change.
Yeah, not that I know of, but there might be. I didn't look too deep in the settings. I will say, so real quick, with this game, I did also buy it ages ago. I bought it around the same time I bought Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So I've been playing it since about then, though I did play less of it than Kakarot. Again, I have about 20 or so hours into it. The game's supposed to be about 30 hours, give or take.
So you're pretty
close. I do a lot of this. Well, I do a lot of the side quests, so I'm a little bit behind. It'll probably take me about 40 to 50 hours. On Pickupable, the thing that I made up for games that I've been playing and tend to set down for a long time, I put story at a medium. While I was able to remember quite a bit of the story, you can understand a bit why I have a hard time remembering exactly what happened, because a lot of it feels like a fucking fever dream.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
To where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that the reason that this gambling town exists is because this fucking elf guy sold his forest.
Epic gambler.
Epic gambler. But objectives are easy. It tells you pretty much exactly what you're doing. If you need to like a re-up on the story, you can kind of go through the old quests that you've done, because they're kept in a log, and you can kind of read the description of the quests to get a refresher.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's common in a lot of RPGs too. Is they have like story recaps.
Oh, yeah. The controls are fairly easy. It's not too bad. The mechanics, I put it on a medium. I forgot some systems. Like I forgot that one, skirmishes were a thing, and I forgot how to do them. Period. Like I was like, how does this work again? But yeah, no, it's an absolute joy. I will definitely try to push to actually beat it sometime soon because I love it. It's on my list of games I want to platinum because it's so fun, and I'm super excited to try out Ni No Kuni 1.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious how much of a fever dream Ni No Kuni 1 might be. If memory serves right, in one of the PlayStation Access videos I watched, there's a genie. I think there's a genie in it that you can just encounter at some point. So yeah, I think that's it for Ni No Kuni. So unless you have any more questions about it.
No, I really don't. You covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, it is the most recent game I've been playing. Like, I beat Kakarot on, like, Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday I played, like, 10 or so hours straight of Ni No Kuni.
Damn.
Yeah. And then I didn't really touch it yesterday. Because I was like, I need some space. But yeah, no, it's absolutely a wonderful game. I know I'm only I'm only a fraction of the way through it. But I think it's definitely something that you would enjoy. So let's go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No, it really does sound like fun, and I might.
Yeah.
But I honestly might play the first one first.
Yeah. Yeah, that would probably be smart. Personally, the reason why I went to Ni No Kuni 2 first is when I really like PlayStation Access, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. And in Rob's Friday features, he would bring up Ni No Kuni a lot. And it just looked so fun. And he was talking about how, he platinumed it and everything. And like he went hunting for that last 50th skirmish to get the platinum and whatnot. And I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. When I haven't heard a whole lot about Ni No Kuni 1, on the other hand, so I put that on the back burner, relatively in comparison.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and start on with Persona.
Persona 5.
Yes, Persona 5. I have played in the scheme of things, an absolutely tiny bit of it. I still have yet to even fight the first boss.
So you haven't completed the first palace yet?
Nope.
Oh my god.
I'm still 8 hours in.
Yeah, I think my most recent save on the original one on the PS4 was like 105 hours.
Oof.
Total.
Damn.
And that's just like one playthrough. I never played through it again after that.
Yeah.
Like until Royal came out. And I didn't beat Royal yet, so.
That's fine. We're not talking Royal today. We're just talking plain old vanilla Persona 5.
Yeah, so like Persona 5's definitely one of my favorite Persona games. Next to number 3. But like, I don't know. I remember waiting so long for Persona 5 to come out. Like seeing promotional stuff of it, and it was like new age Persona graphics, and like the city was way more explorable. And, like you can do so much more stuff, and like it looked. I loved the comic book style of it, and it looked so amazing.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it had a notoriously long wait time because it was originally slated to come out for the PS3.
It was, yeah.
It did release on it, but it also took so long that the PS4 came out.
So then they just kind of like extended it to release on there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yes, so anyway, like of course, story-wise, it's about a delinquent kid. Well, quote-unquote delinquent kid gets in trouble with the law. He's got to move to, like, his family's friend, which is, like, the coffee shop owner.
Yeah, I think it's... I don't know, for some reason, from what I remember, it's, like, almost like his probation officer that just so happens to also run a coffee shop or something.
No, it's not his probation officer, but it's someone his family knows and just kind of, like, sends him off to that guy, and then that guy has to, like, keep record of what he's doing.
Yeah.
I guess, in a sense, it would be a probation officer. But, like, this guy is the guy that reports to the probation officer.
Yeah.
But I noticed a lot of, like, Persona games... Well, I mean, I guess that is Persona, like, takes place within a year. But it's always, like, the main character moves to another town because of some trouble they got into, or, you know, like number 4, like, he had some, like, family issues, and, like, his parents moved away or something for, like, a year.
I think, as far as I can tell, though, at the very least, the one that doesn't do that, I think, is the first game.
Yeah, I haven't played 1 or 2, so...
I own 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have not played any of them. I dipped into 1, and 1 just kind of, like, drops you into it. It's just like, go. kind of thing. And it's interesting. I need to play more of it to actually, like, kind of get a feel and whatnot.
Yes,
but yeah.
Story-wise, so you're just, like, a delinquent kid, moves to Shibuya, has to stay there for a year, can't do anything crazy because he gets in trouble with this, like, really rich guy. He's drunk, he's, like, messing with a girl, he tries to save her, he gets, like, arrested, puts a bad name on his record, and then, like, that's what kind of, like, starts up the whole adults are like cruddy people, and they're all shameful, and they're all bastards. So, like, that sets up the main plot, which is the main character finds, like, his persona, and he forms a group called the Phantom Thieves. And, like, I really love it. I remember having such a good time with it. Like, I was so excited to play it, and it was so epic, like, seeing all the new graphics and the way that they let you play into the game, and then you, like, meet all these characters that eventually become your friends, and it slowly becomes so, like, you actually connect with the characters, and that's what I love about Persona games. Because you have, like...
Yeah, for me...
You have, like, those social bonds that you can do.
Yeah.
Which is... I love
for
that.
For me, I really... So, what got me potentially interested in Persona 5 was the Super Butter Buns video.
Oh, yeah.
On it. It's a really good video. Like, it makes me really want to play it. But what always stops me is the daunting, like... iceberg that is Persona 5, or just like the fucking massive wall in front of me that seems unclimbable kind of thing.
What do you mean?
Because so I tend to get a little bit paralyzed by choice at times, or like if I know that a decision might affect the rest of the game, I have trouble doing anything. So for example, and this is like technically one of the calmer examples, Deathloop. I bought the game, and two things made me a little bit, hesitant to continue. The fact that people can invade your game and just kill you, making you have to restart the loop. And two, the fact that things might change. So, since it's made by the same developer as Dishonored, and it has a lot of the same mechanics. In Dishonored, if you go around killing too many people, the levels get harder, dingier, dirtier. Everything's super grimy as you kill people. And, like, there's fucking plague rats everywhere. But if you don't kill people and you're, like, super stealthily and you're just knocking them out and, like, being careful and shit, everything's fine in Dishonored. So, like, in Dishonored, I get super paralyzed by, like, oh no, am I destroying the town? What's happening? Kind of thing.
I definitely get the choice thing, though, because Persona games, it's all about choices. Like, what you do with each day, because it goes day by day by day.
Exactly.
And
like,
depending on what you do, like, for those days, different stats could, like, be increased, and, like, different social links could be, and, like, it really like changes the factor of, like, your performance in combat and, like, other things in the game.
Yeah, like, it can change absolutely everything. Or say, like, oh, you want to get into the relationship with this girl, but maybe this girl. Just be careful not to be in a relationship with two girls at once, or else things will get awkward.
I definitely dated as many girls on that game as I could.
But, like, I look at it and I get kind of worried about continuing. When I'm in the dungeons, I'm comfortable. It's fine. There's not too much choice and whatnot in the dungeons.
The dungeons are very linear, and they're fun. I love the combat in that game.
Yeah, though I will say that recently, that's technically what's been stopping me, is the combat.
Really?
It's good. Well, it's good, but... So, what would happen is I would hop into where I was in the dungeon and start exploring. And as I'm starting to explore, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. You know, rip off the mask of this guy, get into a fight, kill him, you know, go through. And then, oops, I died. Because I accidentally slipped, and my foot was out of place, and I got absolutely charged down by the guy, and then they were all surrounding me and just fucking ganked me. So
I have never had that problem.
Oh, dude, it sucked.
Like, you actually got caught by the enemies?
Yeah, so I was walking around, and I was trying to do the stealth thing. And I think I mispressed the button or something, and something weird happened to where, like, they caught me while I was trying to do the stealth move. And when it went into the battle, I was surrounded by the enemies.
Oh, man.
And they just beat the shit out of me until all of my characters died.
I have never had that problem before.
So then it booted me back to the safe room, to which I was like, and I'm setting down Persona 5 for today.
I'm assuming that's the last time you played it, huh?
Yes, it was.
That sounds
Well, since then I have booted to the start screen at least twice in, like, ooh, I kind of want to play, and then I just kind of let it get washed away by the other games I end up playing on PS5. That's the thing that tends to happen. Like, I'll pull it up to where it's, like, on, like, my main bar, and then as I play other games, it just gets washed away back into the main set of my library.
Damn, dude. No, you definitely should play it. Like, it's such a fulfilling... I mean, of course, this is just my opinion. Like, I loved Persona 3. I played the shit out of that one. And then number 5 is just, like, held, like, such a precious place in my heart. But, like, it's such a... Like, you feel complete once you're going to school and you're hanging out with your friends and you're, like upgrading your stats and, like, answering test questions and stuff like that. Like, it's just so fun. I love it. Like, going day by day and then, like, choosing, like, stressing over whether you should go into the dungeon or not because time's running super close.
Yeah.
And then, like, you wait until the last second and then you just, like, do the whole dungeon in one go, which was probably a bad idea because you're super under-leveled. But that's how I played it, and I succeeded.
Yeah. Well, for me, another thing is it is something that if you're going to do, I feel like you have to commit, because it is a, on average, 100-hour RPG.
Oh yeah. Like when I think of like RPGs that take a long time, it's definitely a Persona game.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the day-by-day factor.
Yeah. Like, I think the day-by-day factor is part of what's kind of scaring me, you know? Because...
It's a whole year.
So, well, yeah. But I've put over 100 hours into other RPGs before. Like, you know, Legend of Heroes, I've put in both the first and the second game over 100 hours in both of them. And, like, I didn't feel too much problem with it, because while, yeah, a lot of it is kind of blocked off, it doesn't fully feel that way. You know what I mean?
Like, not necessarily, no.
So, say, take for example Legend of Heroes 1. You are going from city to city, and in each city you go to the Bracers Guild, and that's where you pick up the side quests.
Yeah.
That's where all the side quests are.
Yeah.
So while you're in there, the side quests are ranked by length of time. So you got a short period of time, medium period of time, and you got a long period of time. That usually just means how much story advancement happens before you fail the side quest.
Oh.
So, like, you kind of get a gauge of how much time you have to do it, but it also doesn't feel too constraining. And if you miss one, you're just like, oh, okay, oops.
Yeah.
With Persona, now I haven't gotten fully into the whole day sim of it yet, because I'm only 8 hours in. I've done some of the things, but it hasn't given me like the full freedom yet. Like,
oh my god!
I'm in my first time going into the dungeon voluntarily.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in it. It's the first time going into the dungeon voluntarily.
Yeah, so you're still not fully like you
out of the tutorial.
Yeah. Because I think after that point, then they give you the choice of, like, do whatever you want as long as you get it done. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
And then they let you go wherever in the city after that.
Yeah, like, I think I'm either just before that or just after that, but, like, I am in, like, one of the first times in the dungeon voluntarily. Like, I'm in, like, the first upstairs, I think, safe room or something like that of the dungeon.
So you just started the dungeon too.
Yeah, I'm fairly early. Like, I'm out of the basement.
Yeah, there's
sure.
a whole lot more to that.
I know.
I never finished the story though. Like, it's just a bunch of misfit teenagers that, like, as the story goes on, you figure out what happened to them, how, like, people, like, did them wrong, and then you all form the Phantom Thieves, and then you pursue, like, evil adults that are corrupting people, and then as time goes on, you figure out that it's mostly centered around this one big bad guy that's controlling it all, and then you defeat that guy. And you go home.
Right. You just go home.
But
but
not without all those new social links and girlfriends you have obtained. But they don't know that.
They don't know that.
Nah, it's really cool because, like, the difference between, like, you going into the palaces and, like, daily life is, like, you become, like, a persona, like, an actual persona yourself. Like, you become, like, a thief. You've got, like, new clothing. You've got a nickname. Like.
So, this is going to be a bit of an awkward question. And it might... Because, like I said, Persona is a game that I do want to actually play sometime. I would like to actually beat it. It would be nice.
It's really good. It was a tearjerker at the end, too.
Yeah. How would you suggest I tackle it? So, like, for example, the way I tend to play games is like, it depends. Like, how should I tackle it in a way that I don't set it down and it collects dust for another 2 years? How do I prevent the rust from accumulating, per se? Because the way I tackled, say, GTA 5, I would literally play it a bit every day. I would sit down, do a couple of missions, and I could set it back down and pick it up again the next day. Is there a way of doing that with Persona? Or is it, if you're picking it up to say, like, oh, make progress in the dungeon, you're going to be working at it for at least 3 hours or more?
No, I definitely say you could play it in that way, because, again, it's a day by day. So, like, for example, Grand Theft Auto, you did a couple missions a day. Persona, you could you can, like, play for a week, put it down, play again another time for, like, a few days or whatever, or just do as much as the dungeon as you can, put it down, stuff like that. Like really,
so
I think you just have to have, like, a dedication to, like, wanting to know more about what's going on. Like, you want to see, like, more of the palace. You want to figure out where you can go in the city and, like, what you can do.
Right.
But, like, you really just, like, take your time with it. Like,
yeah. So, like, when you say play it for a week, do you mean play it for a week in real life or play it for a week in the game?
Like, in the game.
Okay, so how long is a week in the game, like, in real time?
Well, you have a
give or take.
You have a morning and then you have a night for each day.
Yeah.
Usually you could spend the morning hanging out with people, or most of the time it's going to school. So then you get the evening to decide if you want to go to the dungeon or if you want to hang out with people again, or if you just want to go study a book or go to the arcade, stuff like that. So I think a week would really take probably 20 minutes max.
Okay. What if, with that week, you included a trip to the dungeon?
A trip to the dungeon, I'd say an hour, because you have to include combat and exploration, and because if you're like me, you reach every nook and cranny of a dungeon.
I do. Yeah. If there's a shaded in bit of that map, I'm going to the end of that corridor to see if there's a treasure chest.
But with these dungeons, like you do have to act like a thief. Like, you have to plan your moves out and make sure you don't get caught and get yourself fucking screwed over. Otherwise, you're gonna have
trapped
to
in a
leave
corner
the
being
dungeon
kicked. Yeah.
To reduce the alarm. And then that's just going to take more time, and then it's going to waste time before your deadline. Which your deadline...
But the alarm wasn't the problem.
Your deadline is, like, normally, like, half a month or a month in-game.
Yeah, the deadline does seem to be fairly long.
So they give you a lot of time to decide if you want to go to the dungeon.
Well, the problem I run into is I do tend to feel a lot of empathy for the characters at time. Where, like, because as you're going through the dungeon, once in a while, like, your characters will go, I'm tired.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh.
That's how they get you, though.
Damn. Yeah,
you just
so
gotta
you're like,
ignore
okay,
that.
I guess we'll call it a night.
Because what I did mostly was I would actually literally just do as much of the dungeon as I possibly could in one go before the game actually wouldn't let me go further without leaving and coming back.
Right.
So, because, like, I would always get the dungeon done super fast, and then I would literally just have the rest of the deadline to just do other stuff, like going to the arcade and, like, studying and hanging out with people. And then when the deadline hits, that's when the story picks up again, and then it continues.
Okay.
I'd say just take your time with it, and just like do a couple days, or if you want to go longer, go for it.
Yeah, because I think that for anyone looking at the daunting task that is Persona 5, it's good to kind of recommend some kind of potential way of tackling it.
Yeah, I mean, or you could just set yourself a goal, like.
True. But with not fully knowing the game, it's kind of hard to tell where to set goals, you know?
Yeah. Well, you have, like, social stats that you could be like, okay, well, like, in the next few days, I'm gonna increase my, like, knowledge or some shit.
Well, yeah, that's all well and good when you're at that part of the game.
Yeah, but I definitely think you need to get a little bit further than you are.
Yes.
It'll start...
have to get through the dungeon.
It will start opening up and giving you more stuff to do, and then it will be funner.
Well, like I said, I'm not having trouble finding fun. It's just the daunting tasks, looking ahead kind of thing. Like, it's fun to do. It's just looking ahead. It's like looking at a really long checklist. Yeah. You know, like, I have a lot of stuff to do, so I need to do this, and this kind of thing.
The thing that I look at and intimidates me is getting the personas.
Yes,
is filling out the compendium of personas, because you could miss them and you will never get a chance to get them again, and then you have that one empty spot in that book and it just makes you cringe.
Yeah, I know that feeling with a lot of games, man.
And you know that you can't go back and get that persona unless you fuse it. But if you're a high level, you're not going to be able to get that low level persona through fusion.
Right.
So, like, it's just a kick in the ass if you miss a persona, which I love filling out the compendium. It was like the number one thing I did in number 3.
So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, the personas, shall we say. So the main enemies of the games are personas, right?
Yeah, they're like demon dark versions of personas, yeah.
Yeah, I believe in the Shin Megami Tensei games they are called just demons, but they, in the Persona games, got renamed to personas.
I mean, I guess they're called shadows. And then when a person finds their persona, that's them accepting their dark side. Yeah. Which is them turning their shadow persona into a good persona, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, relatively speaking. But from what it looks like, a lot of the like getting personas and whatnot is kind of like Pokemon.
It really
you kind of
is.
beat down their will, and then you just sweet talk them into joining your team.
Like, you negotiate, you literally point a fucking gun in their face. And you're just like, you either ask them for money, an item, or to join your team. And if they join your team, it's literally like Pokemon. It's like persona captured. And you like put it inside of a mask, and then you put it in your pocket.
Yeah. God, love weird games like that.
Like, RPGs have stuff like that, and that's why they're so fun.
Yeah, they are.
Their concepts are so silly, but it's also so serious.
Yeah. Now, I will say that for this particular game, since I am super interested in it, I would like spoilers kept to a minimum, I guess. You know, I mean, you've already, you've given a good gist of the story and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm trying to be as not so, like I'm not telling you about, I'm not telling you how many dungeons there are, or what they are, who, how you get them.
Actually, I will say, knowing the number might help.
You think so?
Yeah, knowing that there's 9 chapters of Ni No Kuni helps me a bit.
Yeah, I guess if you think of it as chapters, then...
Yeah.
I believe there's a total of 7.
Right. Yeah, that takes the daunting task of who knows how many episodes there are in this anime, down to about 7.
So, like, knowing that you can also, like, divvy up your time amongst social things and dungeon stuff now. So, like, you'll know you have plenty of time or whatnot.
Yeah, because I do think
and you're going to meet an abundance of characters, too.
Oh, yeah. That's where I don't need to know.
That's fair.
Though, I guess... Nah, we'll not do that. Because that would just become problematic. I was going to say, who do you think's best girl?
Yeah, I can't say. It's also very loaded for me because...
Because you dated all of them?
Yeah, throughout the course of the game, my opinions have switched several times, so...
Yeah. No, I get that, yeah.
But the Persona's also a dating sim, so...
Yeah.
It's an RPG simulation dating sim game.
So how would you compare Persona 5 to the other Personas, 4 and 3, the ones that you've played?
Well, obviously graphics are better, but that's just because, like, different time.
The other ones were handheld or PS2?
It's not as dark as Persona 3 was. Persona 3 had some very dark themes, but it's darker than Persona 4.
So it's kind of like a happy medium between the two.
Yeah, I think so. Like they balance it out very well, like between like the comedy, the seriousness, and like the dark themes of it all.
Nice. That's kind of
gameplay wise, like Persona 5 beats them all, hands down.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. In soundtrack alone,
the soundtrack is so snazzy.
It's so fun, so jazzy. I love a good jazzy soundtrack.
You're playing Royal, right?
No, I'm playing basic Persona 5, and then I'll play Royal. Because I do have them both, because... Fuck my bank, I guess.
Yeah, Royal adds so much, because I actually want to beat it now. talking about it, it's like bringing up memories, and I'm like, I should beat it.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near beating it. But now I have other games to play, so...
Well, yeah, but remember that there's a nice little section at the end of this that's like, what else you playing?
Yeah.
So, you could be playing some Persona 5 Royale as well. Just dip into it every so often.
I'm going to be saying this now. There's going to be a lot of multitasking going on.
Yeah? Is there anything else you would like to talk about with Persona 5?
I mean, I want to talk more about, like, the characters and everything, but I don't want to spoil it too much for you.
So then go...
Like, I just wanted to talk about, like the Phantom Thieves themselves.
Right.
Like, I'm sure you know Ryuji.
Yeah, that's, like, the first guy you get, right?
Yeah. And then, have you met An yet?
Yes, I have.
Is she in your party?
Yes, she is.
Okay. You might be further than I think, then. Not too sure.
You know, I've done all the stuff, like, with getting her into the party, and this is, like, I think my first time in the dungeon with her.
Okay. So, at this point in time, An is bae.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Now that I know that you know An is bae.
Yes. I don't know if I should probably wait for other characters to come in before deciding.
Yeah, I do think you need to make it, because if you're loyal,
yes.
You have to have a very strong heart going forward in this game.
Yes, that is going to be a task.
You have to be dedicated.
I have to be dedicated, damn it.
Or you can be like me and just go for them all.
Nah, because I feel like it would have negative effects, but I guess it doesn't.
Okay.
But
the initial reason that I did that was to get the trophy for completing all of the social links. Yeah, so like it just happened that way.
Right.
But yeah.
Maybe on a second playthrough.
Yeah, it's all a matter of like how you want to play the first time. So,
you know, I might in this week dip back into Persona 5. We'll see how that goes next week. I'll let you know.
Yeah. It's hands down one of my favorite games. That's really all I wanna. I can't think of anything else without really diving.
So that's the problem when we get to the area. Yeah, that's the problem with a game that's so story heavy. Sometimes it's hard to be careful of like the spoilers or whatnot.
Yeah.
With Ni No Kuni, since I haven't finished it, we kind of got a little bit lucky because I'm not at the end game to spoil anything.
Yeah. And like with how choppy and out of context that was for me, like if I played it now, it would just all be a new experience anyway.
Oh yeah, like I didn't even give you the description of the town I'm heading to, so
yeah.
Like just the description of the town I'm heading to is fucking weird. But yeah, so I guess with that we will begin to wrap up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's really like sparking the want to play games now, though. Like talking about it, like making these 2 podcasts.
Oh yeah, these 2 episodes have really like gotten me revved up to play some games. Like,
and like,
let's play some games.
It's such a good initiative too to like get through our backlog of games we haven't beaten either. So,
yeah. Like, I mean, except for this next week for you, because you bought a game for the next episode, didn't you?
Yeah, it's going to be all brand new.
Yeah, at least for you.
At least for a while. For me... I have played the game for the episode after that.
Yes, so we have planned the next 2 episodes. So that's good. So let's go ahead and just say what's happening next week. What's next episode? What are you playing?
So I'm a big fan of Adventure Time, and the game was on sale, so next time I'm going to be playing Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion, which looks extremely fun.
Yeah. As for me, I am delving into an RPG series I've been hovering on the outskirts of, just kind of curious about, because you hear about it every so often, and it's about as old as it's a fairly long running series, and I'm very surprised that I barely heard about it. I'm delving into Star Ocean, the first departure, which is the PSP remake of the first Star Ocean game that was re-released on PS4.
Which I'm gonna add, that's probably gonna be a tough one to complete if you complete it in time.
Yeah. It's actually fairly short. Let me grab my phone. So it's possible that I'll be able to do it. It is fairly story heavy, and it has a lot of cutscenes and stuff. But it shouldn't be too bad. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Because how long did you say that your game's gonna be to beat?
I haven't looked up the time for Adventure Time.
Oh, you were looking up the time for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine Adventure Time's gonna be shorter than 8 hours.
Yeah, here, I'll look it up real quick. So, Star Ocean First Departure takes 20 and a half hours. Or, at max, 43 and a half hours. So, I should be able to do it.
Yeah. If you have a week to do it. You have more time than me, but...
Well, I have more time than you, but I also have to edit these podcasts.
Yeah, which might actually end up being more time used.
Potentially. We'll see.
Depending on how hard you find it is to edit these. Because you're making video versions, right?
Yes, I am making video versions. So, Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion, main story is 6 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad.
Main and extra is 8.5. Completionist 11. So, you should be able to complete it. 100%.
Which again, I just want to point out that like we're just casually playing these games like we normally would.
Yes. So, basically, what we do is we just today made the decision of what games we were playing for next week. So probably say tomorrow or the next day is when we'll actually probably get kicking into the games. Like I actually have to go and reposition it on my PS5 so that I remember that it's the game I'm playing. Do you want to announce next week's one, or do you want to wait until next week to announce it?
I think we should wait.
Then wait we shall. So that's next week. Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion, and Star Ocean, First Departure R.
Don't you just love our two games that really don't go together?
Yeah. Fuck theming.
As long as they're RPGs, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, that's the main idea, is that it's whatever. It's just like, does it classify as an RPG in some way or form? Then here we go. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Would you like to plug your stuff?
Check out my music on Died Within for Instagram and YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah. The links shall be in the description. Go ahead and check out our live streams whenever we do those. Are you wanting to stream this when the episodes go up?
So, maybe.
We're
going to have to discuss that more, because I'm a bit confused.
Well, would you like to discuss that now, or do you want to...
No, we can wrap up the podcast.
Okay, so we may or may not be streaming when these episodes go up, or at least around the time that they go up. If we are streaming, then we will most likely be streaming the games for next week, and just kind of hanging out and chatting. But otherwise, we might be streaming the games separately on our own channels, regardless. So me at Leo Legionnaire on everything, on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.
And I'm on Twitch as Dead Churro. So it's different from my other socials.
Yeah. Once again, the links will be in the description of the YouTube video version of this, or the description of the podcast episode, along with the time codes for some things.
And either way, we'll most likely be streaming something sometime anyway. So look out for that.
Yes. The potential for us streaming is high. And little special thing that I did forget to mention last episode, we do have a Patreon if you would like to support us. The Patreon is patreon.com/RPG Hangout, so feel free to chuck a buck our way if you would like to.
If you like the concept of this and want to just help out a little bit, it's much appreciated. We want to grow our own little community here. So
yeah, it'll help us keep on keeping on. What motivates better than money, right?
And having someone to say hello to.
Exactly. Like this podcast is something I've been very excited about doing, and doing these past 2 episodes today has really shown just how well it could potentially work, and I've been having an absolute blast recording it.
Same. Yeah, like I love how long we've been going, and like once we start talking about the games, how much we could really like.
Yeah, this is working out a lot better than the anime podcast we tried to do years ago.
Literally, no one's gonna ever know about that stuff because it literally never gotten anywhere.
No, it did not.
Not even a single view, I don't think.
Well, of course, part of the problem is we didn't know how to post it to an actual podcast hosting site, so there's that.
There's that, and we were also very bad at promoting it.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please feel free to follow us on all of the socials for updates on new episodes and whenever we are streaming. And feel free to follow the podcast. Keep an ear out for when we post next week. And we should be posting every, I'm going to say, Sunday, just to give me decent time to edit.
I think every Sunday is a good medium.
Yeah. It gives me a solid day to shoot for in editing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.